What's up, guys? So today I've got two interesting listings that are both very similar. So we've got this mid-2012 13-inch and another mid-2012 13-inch. Now, these are both very inexpensive. $180 with $15 shipping and $245 with free shipping. So at prices that low, this could be interesting. So let's start with this one. Okay, so let's go through the pictures of the first one. So cosmetically, it doesn't look too bad. We've got a dent on the bottom case. That's not too good. I don't like seeing those thick gouges. So yeah, cosmetically, this thing is not horrible, but it could be better. That dent by the charging port is not good to see. And also, I don't see any evidence of the computer working. It's off in all the pictures. That's a red flag. But let's look at the listing, because we have... the charger's not included, screen has a crack, and you can't see anything. Selling it as is for parts. Please read carefully before buying. You haven't given us enough information here. So this could be a good deal, but we don't have enough information. I've got nothing on whether or not the laptop is even going to turn on, because he hasn't specified. All we see is a blank screen, which is apparently cracked, though it's not immediately apparent from the pictures. So we can assume that we have to replace the display, but I don't know if I'm even going to have a working motherboard in this thing. I don't know if he might have taken out the hard drive, he might have taken out the RAM. We just don't know enough about this laptop. So as far as we can tell, this is going to be a flop, because there's not enough information. It's like those math questions that you get in middle school, and it's like, oh, I can't figure it out, there's not enough information, and that's an actual valid answer. This is the laptop flip-or-flop version of that. If we had proof that this thing had a working motherboard, had a hard drive, had a RAM, battery, that sort of thing, then sure, this would be worth it. But we don't even know the specs of this computer. It says that it's the 2.9 gigahertz, which would be nice, and it says 8 gigabytes of RAM, but he hasn't confirmed that, so we can assume that that's what this computer is running, but oftentimes these are incorrect, so we don't really know enough about this to make a purchase. And on to the next one. This is a more interesting listing, because what we have here is a 2.9 i7, so these are pretty valuable. This could probably get you a fair bit of money, but already, as you can see, as is broken screen. Yeah, it sure is. So that screen's gonna have to go. That's pretty clear. But I'm also noticing a very oddly placed dent. How do you even get a dent there? So top case looks a little bit battered. Screen absolutely ruined. The lid is ruined, but we're gonna have to replace that anyway, so I can forgive that. Oh, God, that looks bad. Holy moly, that looks terrible. Massive dent. CD drive is knackered. Bottom case is ruined. We're missing feet, we're missing screws. Okay, so this is a very interesting listing, because as you can tell, cosmetically, this laptop is devastated. It looks like it has been through Hurricane Katrina. This computer is absolutely wrecked with a capital K. So, scuffs, dents, cracked glass, or other damage. Yeah, you don't say. Unit powers on? Okay. Powers on, chimes, battery works, screen is cracked but lights up. Okay, so we didn't plug it into an external display. But with something like this, it's probably gonna be fine, the motherboard. This item could work without any issues, or it could have problems or not work at all. Of course, you gotta cover your bases. This looks like it's a larger seller because he says some laptops, so there's probably a bunch. So there's no hard drive or memory card. I don't know what he means by memory card. Maybe he means RAM? That would be my guess. So we can assume that we're not going to get any hard drive or RAM with this. And, you know, you've just got some other random stuff at the bottom. So, what can we do with this? At 180, well, I guess 195.90. This thing is actually kind of interesting. because obviously it's going to be very tricky to sell a laptop in this poor shape. So realistically, we're going to have to just do a full case replacement. And while we're at it, we're going to need a hard drive, we're going to need memory. So we're replacing a fair amount of the laptop. So I would like to look at this from a different way. Instead of saying, well, let's repair this laptop, this listing might work better as, you know, using it for parts for repairing another laptop. For example, if you had a 2012 MacBook Pro, or basically a shell, and it had a dead board that you picked up for pretty cheap, think of this as a discount logic board. $195 for the Core i7 motherboard is much lower than if you were to buy one outright. Now, I can say that for certain because I actually did a board replacement. So I had this 2011 MacBook Pro, 13-inch like this, and it had a dead board, and I was pretty bothered by that because it wasn't in the description. He said the board worked, but I wasn't able to get my money back. I was pretty bothered by that. It said that the board worked in the description, but I wasn't able to get my money back on that one. He was a very stubborn seller, so what I had to do was buy a new board because I was in too deep and I couldn't just cut my losses. So I ended up going for the i7 board so I could sell the computer for a good bit of money. And so that was a late 2011 with the Core i7 2.8 gigahertz. And I was able to pick up that board for about $300, I think. So $300 for a late 2011. You can assume that you'll get a little bit more out of a mid-2012 with the i7. So even if you were to just buy this and just pluck the motherboard right out and stick it on eBay, it might take a while to sell because they're, sometimes a little slow to sell parts individually. But you could probably make money just doing that. Or you could put that board in another laptop that has a broken motherboard, and you could use this as a discount logic board. So I'd say this is actually a flip. An unconventional one because you won't be flipping this as a whole laptop, but this is definitely a flippable laptop. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to head on over to my subreddit. We've got a lot of cool stuff going on over here, and I encourage you guys to come over and subscribe. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.